Welcome, everyone. Welcome to class. Today we're talking about a concept called interoception. And interoception is the ability to sort of sense what's going on with us inside, or from the inside out, I guess. So you might think about something really simple like knowing when you're hungry, or knowing when you have pain. All right. And in yoga, this is clearly different than proprioception. So we work a lot with proprioception, which I'm sure most of you have heard of, and that's knowing our bodies in space and time. And interoception is sort of more of this, less of this sort of conceptual, how we are in space and time, and more of this feeling sense. And you hear it probably a lot, even from yoga teachers and probably from me. What is the felt sense of this? So that's what we're working on today. And it's an interesting concept because we actually do a lot of conceptual yoga. All right. And those of you that have worked with me quite a bit, I do a lot of cueing of form and alignment and things like that, which kind of can take us into a heady space or a conceptual space. What am I supposed to be doing? What should I be doing? So we need that. We need some of that, but we also need to practice this in this other place of that sense in our bodies and connecting more with vibration and sensation and pulsation in the body. So we're gonna play with that today. And why we would play with that. So there's a number of reasons why we would play with that. It gives us a little more freedom in our bodies. And so I'm even going to suggest today that maybe you forego your mat so you don't have this idea of boundaries. All right, so giving us a little more freedom. It also allows us to connect in a way that just we're a little bit more intuitive, and we can sense stresses and respond to stresses a little quicker. And then I think it allows us to focus less on striving for some perfection, which yoga can be a lot about. Less striving for perfection and more just allowing the forms that we go into, allowing the shapes to awaken a greater sensation, awaken a deeper connection. And ultimately, this is my belief, ultimately, it allows us to connect to our most essential being, which is love, which is love from the creator, from source. And when we're there, we don't have boundaries. We don't have the boundaries of me and you, right? So how do we do this? We're going to work somewhat with the breath today because breath is sort of an inside out movement. And we'll work with physical forms, which are more of an outside in movement. And we'll do some connecting between those two sort of methods, or two ways of being in our bodies. So what I will be doing is I'll sort of be setting the scenario, or setting up some of the movement and some of the shapes, and then I'm gonna let you go for it. So you're gonna have this time to really just play in your own body without my guiding. And then we'll come back. I'll bring us back. We'll move pretty slowly. So there's no one watching you. So this is the beauty of this format. There's no one watching you. And if I'm going to give you a lot of freedom today, but if you need to move more or move faster than we're moving, do that. If you need to be still, do that. So a few suggestions are, one was no mat. You could try practicing with no mat today, but have whatever props you'd like to play with today. And two, practice maybe with your eyes closed, at least some of the time, if you could practice with your eyes closed, so that you are less about where I am externally and that proprioception, and more internal. Be a rebel. Be a rebel. So question. So you might question, does that feel good in my body, or would this feel better? And then try. So what might be more easeful? What might be more fluid? What might be more delightful in my body? Those would be good words to focus on. And you could choose even a word: easeful, delightful, curiosity. Okay. So that's our class for today. And we'll start on our backs. So one other little caveat: if you don't hear me for a while, don't worry. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to go have a cup of tea and come back. But I'll pop in when I need to, and yeah, we'll go from here. So let's begin on our backs in any space, with or without a mat, that you would choose. And on your back, with your feet on the floor, knees bent, that's your only boundary. So your only boundary is back on the floor, feet on the floor, and then just start to move in your body in a way that feels supportive in waking up sensation. And then feet can come off the floor, and so you're just on your back. Then soles of the feet back to the floor, but the back can come off the floor. So you might press the hips up, and move side to side. Just allow it to be a fluidity, an easeful movement that feels nice in your body. And then no boundaries, just on the floor on your back. And for some of us, this might even just be stillness here. And from our backs, let's cross at the ankles, roll up, rock up, or turn to your side and come up. And we'll come up to a seat. And you could be sitting on a block or not, just whatever works for you. And we'll just move the arms. So let's inhale and reach the arms up overhead and exhale through center. And here, if it feels safe for you, just close your eyes and feel what's happening with your musculature, with your breath. Okay, and then interlace your hands above your head. Press the palms of your hands towards the ceiling and reach your arms over to the right. Take your gaze to the left. Press back up towards the ceiling. Reach arms to the left, gaze to the right. Okay, so there's the container, there's the boundary. Now keep moving in any way that feels delightful, allows you to awaken more sensation in your body. So you might release the hands, or you could just stay with this and continue to move back and forth. Trust yourself here. This might feel a little odd, but just trust yourself. And carry on. And then come to some stillness, resting your hands in your lap. The hands are a really great place to feel for this sensation from the inside out. So if it's okay for you, close your eyes and just feel your hands. And we'll press up onto hands and knees. And this could be, if you need to be on your forearms, you can be on your forearms too. And just a few cat cows. Inhaling, as you inhale, let the belly sort of reach down towards the floor. And pull your chest forward and reach your gaze up just slightly. And as you exhale, press and round your back. A few rounds of cat cow. Good, and then press into cat. And then from cat, any way that you want to move, either staying predominantly in the cat shape or moving back and forth cat cow, but allow the shape to take you into some deeper awareness. Try not to judge it. There's no right or wrong here. Just exploring in your body that deeper sense of connection. Take your hips back and rest your hips on your heels or near your heels or on a blanket with knees together or apart in child's pose. Decide where you want your arms. And even in this child's pose, can you soften your hands and feel your hands from the inside out? And then bring your hands forward and slide yourself forward into Sphinx. So elbows underneath shoulders. And here, just some movement on your own. Perhaps through your neck, perhaps through your hips. Close your eyes if it feels okay. Whatever word you chose, delight, ease, maybe no boundaries. See if you can allow that to help guide you, dropping into sensation. And then we're going to move together. So pressing yourself up onto your forearms and back into child's pose. And then inhale, sliding forward, coming onto your forearms again and into Sphinx. And then exhale, lowering yourself all the way down to the floor. You could use your hands as a little pillow. Inhale, bring the forearms alongside your body again. Press up and back. Child's pose. Inhale, slide forward. Back into Sphinx. Exhale, lower yourself to the floor. Hands to a little pillow. Inhale, either come back to Sphinx or bring the hands to the low ribs. Press up and back. Child's pose. Inhale, slide forward, coming onto your forearms into Sphinx. Exhale, lower to the floor. Inhale, press into your forearms or slide your hands beside your low ribs. And then exhale back, child's pose. Inhale, slide forward, belly to the floor, Sphinx. Exhale, rest your belly all the way down, your body all the way down to the floor. Inhale, bring your hands beside you, press up onto your knees and back into child's pose. Inhale, slide your hands forward. Really nice if you just are on carpet or And you'll in Sphinx and exhale, rest yourself down. Okay, just take a couple more rounds. You know the basics here, and add whatever feels nice to you. What might feel nice to you might just be to stay in one of the positions. Allow the breath to guide you, as the breath is really inside to the outside. So the breath is the container for the movement and allows us to get a deeper connection sense. And the next time you come all the way down to your belly and you have your little pillow with your hands, rest your forehead here, and then just be still, just for a couple of rounds of breath. And now on your belly, moving in any way that feels nice here. So maybe you're going to do a few rounds of locust, stretching, reaching the body, back body long in a back bend, front body long, and then resting back down. Perhaps something else would call to you. Windshield wipering the legs. Just the only boundary is that you're on your belly. And then we'll all bring our hands alongside our low ribs, press up through table. Take a couple of rounds of cat-cow in table here. And then from a neutral spine, turn your toes under and press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then just in downward facing dog, allow this very familiar form to bring some more awareness to you. So moving in downward facing dog, or being still in downward facing dog in a way that works for you, that feels easeful, delightful, curious. And then walk hands to feet, feet to hands. Come into a forward fold, deeply bent in the knees, so you can drape your body over your legs. And then in whatever way feels nice to you, come up to standing. So you might hinge or you might roll. Just play around with what feels nice in your body. Take your time. We'll come to the Tadasana pose, just standing in Tadasana. Close your eyes here and sense your hands. See if you can get some information and awareness from the inside out about how you're standing. Maybe you want to spread the feet a little wider. Maybe stability is what you need this morning. Now, if you're moving, that's great. If you're standing still, that's great. What does your body want to do? Can you let your body do what it feels like doing? Okay, together now we're going to interlace the hands behind the head. Inhale. On your exhale, press your hands, outstretched arms over to the right. Turn your gaze to the left. Inhale, bring your hands back behind your head. Exhale, press your hands over to the left. Turn and gaze to the right. Inhale. Exhale, hands outstretched over to the right, gaze to the left. Back to center, hands over to the left, turn and gaze to the right. Now you keep it going. You could keep the hands interlaced. This is similar to what we were doing when we were sitting, or you could open the hands up, taking this into a deeper side bend. Take your time, feel for delight or information. So really our only boundary is we're working side bending in the body, both feet on the floor. Breath is container. We'll meet back into asana. Now just let your hips move. Maybe circling, maybe pelvic tilts. Just let your hips move. What might it feel like to widen your stance even more? Continue what you're doing. And now hips and hands and hips and arms, maybe at the same time. And then we'll come back to center. Let's just everyone have about a 2-foot gap between your feet, hands to your hips. And then just be still. Feel for the even stacking of your bones. And then we'll inhale the spine long and exhale, come into a fold. And you might decide that your feet need to go further apart. We'll come into a fold. Any placement of your hands underneath your chest, your sternum, your face. In this forward fold. And then what might feel like, what might allow you to gain more understanding or awareness here? Maybe it's squeezing the legs. Maybe it's a little bit of cat-cow movement. And then once again, come up in a way that feels supportive to you. Take your time. Might heel toe the feet in a little bit and just come back into some stillness. Again, you could come to the hands, or another nice area to focus on would be your spine. And then we're going to turn the right foot out. Okay, and left foot slightly in, but feel what, it might feel like you want more rotation of the back foot. Just play in your body. And if you're practicing without a mat, like I am right now, how might that change how you go through some of these little shapes, in and out of these shapes? So we'll just begin by just sliding the right hand down the leg and back up. Sliding the right hand down the front leg and back up. So this is a familiar shape. This is triangle. And then when you rest, when you stop in your triangle, how might you make it a little more easeful? Do you need to back up a little bit? Can you keep your upper body open? Maybe the top hand to the shoulder or reaching overhead, maybe at your hip. And then just holding here for a few breaths. And we'll bend through the front knee to help us press up. Turn the feet, go in the other direction. Begin the same little movement. Left hand sliding down the front leg. If it's okay for your sense of balance, you could close your eyes here. Feel, gaining that inner awareness. And we'll hold. And this side might be different, right? Bend through the front leg to come up. We'll go back to the first side, but we'll take more of the warrior two stance. And just take your time to sort of drop into how you want to express that right now. And we're going to flow here. So we're going to exhale and let the arms come out, and inhale, straighten the front leg and bring the hands together. And you have now freedom to do whatever else you might want with this. We'll spend a couple of minutes on each side. Let the breath be the container. And just exhale and inhale. Movement inside the breath. If you feel like holding, hold. And if you feel like adding something, add something. Let's meet with the front knee bent. Arms extended long. Can you close down your gaze and bring it inward? Inhale back up, arms up straight. Straighten that leg and then turn the toes in. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, so you can come to a comfortable Tadasana stance. Close down your eyes. Focus on your hands. And then transition, opening the feet again to whatever distance feels supportive for you. Turn the opposite foot out. Back foot comes, heel comes slightly out. Play with your stance here. Play with your stance. What does it feel like? How does it feel to have a wider stance? We'll go through that same vinyasa, which is bend through the front knee, extend the arms. Inhale, straighten, bring the hands up together. And adding anything that allows you to awaken more sensation. Trust yourself. Our bodies have so much intelligence. We'll meet with the front knee bent, arms reaching out. If you can, close your eyes here. Holding, requiring some strength. And then we'll straighten the front leg, heel toe the feet together. Tadasana. If your body feels like moving a little bit, like winter wheat in the wind, let that happen. Let Tadasana just be the form that gives you some freedom. And let's just bring the hands together at the heart center in a little gesture of prayer. Take 2 rounds of breath. And release your hands. Okay, so we're going to do a balancing posture. And you might want some wall space here. Now, balancing, of course, requires a lot of proprioception, where I am in space. So to get ourselves into a balancing posture, we might start with that, more of that proprioception, and then we'll see if we can move inside and work more of the interoception. So we'll just do a very simple, I'll face you first, but just again, we're really practicing accessing this in our own bodies, but just put your weight into one foot and lift the other foot off the floor. And then from here, this could be where you stay. This could be the shape that's going to give you information. Where you could do some sort of tree stand, Vrksasana, or you might do quite a bit more movement. I'm just going to turn and use my hand on the wall. So playing around with movement through the hip. Maybe even a little bit of squatting, one-legged squatting. But the only boundary is you're just on one foot here. If you can get to a place where you could come really inside, drop out of the conceptual idea of what tree looks like or balance looks like even, and come inside. If you have a space that you can touch your hand to, then you could close your eyes. Any amount of movement here. And then let's set that foot down. Tadasana. Can you make even Tadasana more easeful, more delightful? Let's go to the other side. So now, same thing. We're just gonna come into uh, balancing on one foot and the other leg, doing whatever it feels like doing. Using wall space if you want to. Maybe going back and forth between the support with your hand on the wall or door jamb and freeing yourself up. Maybe closing the eyes. And release that foot, feet beside each other. Come to Tadasana again. From this Tadasana, we're going to move through a sun salutation like flow, just a few rounds. And even though I will be speaking to you, I would invite you to think about, let me change that word. I would invite you to drop out of conceptual thinking and into your body sense more. So, yes, you might be hearing, especially if you're new to yoga, you might be hearing my words and doing what you think I'm asking you to do. But see if your body can guide you more than my words. So, Tadasana. Inhaling the arms up, long body. Exhale, fold through your center. Take your hands to the floor, step your feet back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into a high push-up position. And exhale, drop your knees to the floor, hips back, downward child's pose. Inhale, come into cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, walk your feet to your hands. Reach your crown away from your sacrum, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, stretch your body up and long, reach your arms up over your head, take your time. And exhale, hands through prayer to your sides, Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold through your center. Hands to the floor, step your feet back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to the high push-up position. And exhale, drop your knees to the floor, hips back to your heels, child's pose. Inhale, reach forward, cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the right leg out behind you. And as you exhale, rock forward. You could tent your fingers on your right hand. Bring your right foot up between your hands. Drop your left knee to the floor. Inhale, reach up with your arms, hips come forward, pressing into the front foot. Exhale, hands down around the front foot. Step yourself back, hips back, release that front foot. And downward facing dog. Inhale to high plank. Exhale, drop your knees. Hips back, child's pose. Inhale, come up into cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Reach crown away from sacrum. Exhale, deep bend in the knees as you fold. Take your time as you inhale, pressing into your feet. Draw your body long, arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands come through heart center to the sides of your body, Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold through your center. Hands to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg out behind you. And as you rock forward, you could tent your left fingers to get that left foot forward between your hands. Good. Drop the back knee. Inhale as you reach your arms up, let your hips sink low. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step on back, downward facing dog. Inhale to the high push-up position. And exhale, drop your knees, bring your hips back, child's pose. Inhale to cow. And exhale, turn your toes under, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take 2 full breaths here in downward dog. Close your eyes down if you can. Sense this from the inside out. Walk your feet up to your hands on your next inhale. Reach your crown away from your sacrum. And then as you exhale, drop your hips down towards the floor so you're in a very low squat. You could bring the arms forward for balance. Then lower all the way down to your butt. Take your hands behind your legs. So you're sort of in a somewhat of a boat shape. And then however you want to get to the floor, let's meet on our backs again. However you want to get to the floor. So now on your back with your feet in about a hip distance apart, soles of the feet on the floor. So going in and out of the bridge shape. But again, I'm going to give you the invitation of curiosity and delight. So maybe you like to come into just a strong bridge pose. Maybe you would like to flow in your bridge. So as you flow, you might lift the hips, the arms come behind you. And then you bring everything back down. This was my yoga for about a year. This is all I did. I just went into this cascading flow bridge. Felt so good in my back. So wherever you can sort of land in allowing the shapes, the forms, the poses to give you some more awareness of sensation, that's what I'm going to suggest you do. And it could also be, just one other suggestion would be just to lift your hips and set your sacrum right on a block and rest. In our movement, we get sensation. In our resting, we get sensation. Trust your body and what your body needs. We'll meet on our backs, feet wide, knees resting against one another. And again, you might bring your awareness to your hands. It might be the broadness in your back or your spine. And then we can separate the knees. Press into our feet just slightly, just enough to lift your hips. And can you just move your hips like a little swing, right to left? Like you're rocking a baby. It's okay, close your eyes. And then set your hips down to your right. Stack your knees. Bring your knees to the left. Open the right arm up. Gaze anywhere that feels nice for you, supportive for you. And position your knees in such a place. So you might have your knees in real close to your chest, or you might be down a little bit more uh, parallel with the hips. Just find a spot that allows you to let go here into this twist. What might it feel like, and how might it change the shape if you turn the corners of your mouth up? Next inhale, just bring the top leg up and the bottom leg up, and soles of the feet back to the floor, and lift the hips again, and just that slight rocking back and forth, like you've got your hips are a little bassinet, right? And you're just rocking up a baby. And then we'll set the hips over to the left. Draw the knees up towards our chest and drop your knees to the right and come into a twist on this other side. Same thing. Find some place, some sense in this shape that feels delightful, supportive. And then inhale, top leg up. You can sort of roll back onto your sacrum and make your feet, make your way back to feet on the floor, and find that neutral position in your pelvis. And then just take 20 to 30 seconds to segue, to move into Shavasana in just your way, whatever way feels nice to you. Let your body do what it feels like doing. Traditional Shavasana is on our backs, but you might have your knees in. You might go to a wall space and take your legs up the wall. You might just curl up on your side and rest in the fetal position. This is Rumi, who had such a gift of beautifully describing things and kind of this concept, right, of interoception. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Here you could light in Shavasana for a few more moments. I'll just close us up with 3 ohms. This humming, you could hum along inside or do the ohming out loud in your space. That vibration itself is a really powerful way to practice interoception. So come up to a seat if you want to, or stay on your back. Namaste. Thanks for being here today, everyone. Have a bright and beautiful day.